I did an apprenticeship at the local nursery when I was about 19. Interest in the heathers really developed from the diversity of the flower, and so it became a kind of a collector's ambition to collect the varieties. And there's such a range of flower and foliage colour. In essence, we have something in flower every day of the year, and even when the plant isn't in flower, you've still got the attractive bronze and golds and greys foliages there. Well, homegrown heathers are grown by specialist heather growers in this country, and there's a group of about 8 to 10 producing hardy heathers with such a range of colour and foliage and flower. Heathers were in their heyday in the 1970s. That's when I started collecting them. The concept was really for heather beds, where you did mass plantings of heathers, and you would plant them in groups of say 3, 5, 7 or even larger to get an impact with the flowering. They were used with rockeries, they were planted with conifers. After that they waned and people were really looking for something different. So the concept of heathers has changed over the years. It's a more modern aspect of looking at the planting and the different ways of utilising them. Well, grasses and heathers go together so well. They've got a natural affinity with each other, and you'll find them growing in the heathlands and on the moorlands. They'll be both growing together quite happily. Well, we've got quite a few different heathers here. This is what is called Erica cinerea, and it's again a form of the heather that you'll find growing in the wild and in the forest and on the moorland. But these are colours that are developed with a little bit of breeding and selection to provide a greater range of habit and flower type. Some will flower through the winter and some will flower right through from spring through to late summer, and others again coming in the autumn. This heather is Debesia. It's got the much larger flower to it with the glossy green foliage, and it's a much more showy plant. After it's finished flowering, you can just trim those flower heads back again, and that will produce another flush of flower from these other branches that are just coming up. Summer flowering heathers, rainwater is much better than tap water. You can always collect it from a water tub and store that and then give them a nice drink during the hot, dry summer periods. They really appreciate that. The heathers are vital in the early spring as a source of pollen and nectar for the bees. I can sit by my heather bed and actually listen to it. And you have the bees humming there, and they'll be going from one flower to another. Mainly bumblebees these days, because we seem to have diminishing numbers of the honeybee. The heather honey is normally recognised as being one of the more expensive honeys available in the shops, but also one of the most desirable.
Oh, heather honey, warm as the sunshine.
Even in a small garden, you can have a pot or a tub. They'll home in on a particular variety, whatever is just the right flavour of the day.
So David, as well as growing them, collecting them and loving them, you have brought them here at Hampton Court to get a good, strong message across, because many of them are threatened, aren't they?
That's right. We've lost nearly 60% of the 1,500 varieties that were around in the early days. More than half of those have gone now.
Wow.
And there's no getting those back.
So why do you think they fell out of favour in the first place?
They went out of fashion after the peak of the interest in the 1970s. They've gone out of fashion and the interest has focused on other plants. But now we're just beginning to see the initial stages of revitalisation and new interest back into them.
So you're trying to get younger people involved in them, because I guess they're seen as an older person's plant in a way.
We're looking for the new generation to see new ways of planting. There's lots of different ways these days where the garden is housing pots and tubs and hanging baskets, and heathers have a niche in all of these little units here. One of my pet hates as I drive around is seeing all the gravel deserts. This is how I define them, as being areas in front of people's gardens or driveways where there's no planting at all. There's no friendliness to the wildlife or the environment, and it's not difficult to plant a few heathers in these places to liven them up with a bit of colour there, with the red, white and pinks and the purples. Flower for 3 to 4 months of the year, and different coloured foliages as well.
Well, thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.